I'm sorry. My computer just went out for a second.
Oh, that's okay.
I wish. I could.
Hello?
Hello.
All right.
Awesome.
So do we want to just take turns or?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to
And
be
so-
really interesting.
We're supposed to be recording this, right?
Yes, so it's already recording.
Okay,
Um,
okay. Just making sure.
So we should be good to go.
Hold on, sorry. I'm going to turn on one of my lights real quick. I didn't realize how dark I was.
Gonna touch it. Okay, I'm not gonna touch it. I don't know what keeps happening.
Okay, there we go.
Acting
That's
funny.
better.
All right, I think I accidentally touched the screen. Okay, I'm not gonna touch it anymore.
All right. So, as far as I understand, we just write down the times that we each begin to facilitate, and then the time that we began to debrief.
Yeah.
Guys have anything else that we needed to do?
No. So do we just each like set a timer for 15 minutes and take our turn, or?
Yeah, that's kind of just how I'm gonna do it. I just watch the time, and then let somebody else go and write down the times as we go.
Okay.
So,
Who wants
go
to
ahead.
go first?
Um,
Anybody volunteering?
yeah, I'll go. That should be interesting.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
All right.
you don't really have to know anything about diabetes to do this assignment, but
I know.
kind of do. So, anyways, so I just wanted to start out by asking you guys, what's the first thing you think of when you hear diabetes?
Overweight.
Amputation. Sorry.
I asked my husband what he thought of, and he was like, diabetes. And I was like, that's not really.
Diabetes. That guy's pretty
I
famous.
think of just like blood sugar.
Yeah. Carbs.
Yeah. Medicine. Okay, and then I was gonna ask if either of you guys either have diabetes or if you know someone that has diabetes.
Actually, my mom just was diagnosed with it like, I don't know, a month ago. So they just, so far she's just like had to start monitoring her blood sugar, like with the glucometer and all that stuff. So
Is it just
nothing too extreme yet.
My grandma has had it for a while. It has run in the family. She's actually lost a couple toes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty bad. My mom doesn't have it. Luckily, I don't have it yet. I'm trying to make sure I don't have it because I like eating yummy food. So, and also one of my best friend's actually type 1 diabetic. He's like super thin and like in shape, but he's type 1 diabetic.
Wow.
Yeah. Both of my grandparents have it. They have type 2 diabetes, so it's something that they got later in their life. And
right.
Yeah. Kind of asked my mom, I was like, how did they get it? And she basically said, not eating right or not being active and just making sure that they keep up with their diet and exercise. So I was also going to ask you guys, how have you seen that it affects those people's lives or those that are in their lives? How does it affect them?
Well, like I work at a pharmacy, and we see, we get like most of our patients are diabetic, and most of them are on like tons of medications. I mean, just like thinking about how they have to keep track of all these medications, and they take them multiple times a day, and then you have to check your blood sugar throughout the day. And I know we were at a restaurant one day and we saw a woman like giving herself an injection in the restaurant. So it's like, I mean, I can't even imagine all the work it takes just to keep up with, all of the different parts of it. So I can imagine it's like a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly. I like that it's kind of like a full-time job. I couldn't imagine either just seeing my grandparents and how they have to take those medicines throughout the day and They don't really have to check their glucose as much, but I do know someone that has type 1 diabetes, and every time he eats something, he has to put it in his, glucose monitor, and it pumps the insulin in his body. So, I mean, I guess you kind of get used to it after a while, but I feel like it would be something super hard to adjust to at first.
Yeah, it is, because my best friend who's had it since birth, he's awful. He come over all the time. My wife's a really good baker, and we'll have parties and stuff, and he'll just lose his mind with like cheesecake and stuff, and you could see in his face like, this was a mistake.
Oh no.
And he always has the monitor on his side, and he always checks it like, yep, shouldn't have eaten that and that and that. It's just, yeah, it is a full-time job. It is, you have to be on top of it. That's the thing that I won't mind so much like changing my diet if I ever get it. It's just the like constantly having to be on top of the numbers and on top of like what will bug me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess the route that I kind of wanted to go with my facilitation is type 2 diabetes specifically, and mainly just keeping up with the diet and the exercise. So type 2 diabetes, I kind of looked up more about it, and it's basically your body, doesn't produce enough insulin, or doesn't use it correctly. So what happens is the insulin just kind of gets built up in your blood rather than distributing out to the different cells in your body. So that can basically starve your cells for energy. And then when you get high glucose levels, it can hurt your eyes and kidneys and your heart, which I thought was interesting. But so I just wanted to ask you guys, what are some basic things that these people that are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, how can they initially or first start, like if they're not used to exercising regularly, like what are some ways that they could get into a habit of that?
Well, I know like they always tell you that, even just walking 30 minutes a day is a good start to any kind of physical activity. So I would guess that maybe even just trying to set aside, 30 minutes to walk, or even like trying to add activity by, skipping the elevator or parking a little further from where the store entrance is or whatever. So maybe just start small with things you can do daily just to change, like add activity to your day regularly.
Yeah, those are a few things that I thought of as well. And great starters just to get your body working a little more than you're used to. Just start with the basics. Nick, did you have any ideas?
Yeah, that's what I was reading a lot too about. So I've had to research diabetes for multiple reasons, and one of them was, don't go crazy and like try to run a marathon if you get a diabetes. It's build up a good regimen. Yeah, start slow with 30 minutes a day of walking. Something that I've done at my work, I'm a security guard for high school, and I've started counting my steps and like trying to beat my record and stuff every day, and sometimes play Pokemon Go because I'm still one of those weirdos who still plays it. So
That's awesome.
just stuff like that, just finding fun ways to be active, like joining a rec basketball league or getting a really cheap gym membership, like one of those local, like don't have to be anything crazy, like get a trainer and all this stuff. Just have access, provide access for yourself for a gym, and just providing opportunities for yourself. Because most of the time I think people want to exercise. I think it's just the actually doing it and having time in their schedule.
Yeah.
Making it be convenient for them. So making it more convenient for yourself, I think, is huge.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, one thing I read online too is just like, I like how Miranda mentioned, just like walking 30 minutes a day can be super helpful. But also, that doesn't have to be like 30 minutes straight. Like you can split it up throughout the day. Like you can walk 10 minutes here or 10 minutes there, just split it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the idea of, them setting goals so that they can see their progress and what they've accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So now we'll just kind of go to the diet. And as far as I understand, like people with diabetes, obviously have to monitor their sugar, but I'm not really sure what else they have to monitor. So if you guys have any thoughts or know more about that, I'd love to learn from you.
Actually, this is kind of what I was going to talk about, so I kind of have some ideas
Don't go too into detail. I don't want
about foods. No, it's okay. We can continue. I know also they have to kind of keep track of their carbs
Uh-huh.
and like the wheats and the grains and the
Mhm.
fatty stuff.
I think it's just a lot to just moderation. You learn how to, you can eat things still that you like before, but maybe instead of having like the whole slice of pie, just have like 2 or 3 bites of it, and just like try and cut down on the things that you might go overboard on. So maybe just always like moderation, or just sparingly or whatever, just to make sure that you're not overdoing it in those areas.
Yeah.
So, Miranda, with your mom just getting diagnosed, you said a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
What type does she have, if you don't
Type
mind me
2.
asking?
Yeah, type 2.
Yeah? So
Yeah.
how's she adjusting to it?
So far she's horrible because she's just starting. So she's like, "Oh, I'll worry about it later," or "Oh, I'm just," and like we just went on a cruise last week, and there's like food
fun.
everywhere. There's like buffets are open
Oh,
24
man.
hours. So she's just like getting a piece of pie and getting this and that. We're like, "Mom, shouldn't you like check and make sure you're okay?" "Oh, I'm fine. This isn't gonna hurt me. I'll think about it when I get home." And so she's kind of just still in that phase where she's kind of, I don't know if it's denial, but just like, "Oh, I'm not gonna worry about it right now because I'm okay." And she's lost some weight and already, and she's like, her sugar levels are pretty good regularly, but still it's like, "Oh, you could be doing more." And she's like, "Well, I'll worry about it later." So I think at the beginning it's hard for them to just get into the whole routine of it right away, because I'm sure it's a big adjustment.
Yeah, and
So it might take a few weeks or months to like really develop a good routine.
yeah, and I guess when they're around people, that don't have to monitor it as closely as
Right.
we do, I bet it would be harder. Like, I would imagine myself getting a little jealous. Like, why do they get to eat all that and I don't? But yeah. So I guess to just kind of wrap it up, basically, like, I thought it was really cool that type 2 diabetes, like, it can be reversible. Once you're diagnosed, you can overcome it. So just like working towards eating better and regularly exercising. If people are really committed to it, then they could really reverse it and get back on track and live a normal life again. But yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about. So if anyone wants to start next.
I'll go ahead. Because we kind of started talking about what I was focusing on. I love food. And if I ever, I know diabetes kind of runs in my family. My mom, I'm actually kind of surprised my mom doesn't have it yet. She's in her late 40s and a bit overweight. Like I said, my grandma's had it and it's pretty bad. But I'm worried because I absolutely love food. And so I kind of researched, like, can I still eat yummy things if I have diabetes and stuff? And I actually found some interesting things. So I want to kind of open it up. So what are some things, and we kind of touched on it, what are some things that we know that diabetics avoid as far as food goes?
Something I've heard a lot about is like drinks, like cold, like sugary sodas and just drinks in general, because how like everyone drinks, people like soda, and soda's like so bad for you, and it's just like empty calories. There's no like any kind of vitamins or any kind of benefit to drinking them, but people drink a lot of them. So I think that's probably one thing that everyone could avoid, is just like liquor-y sodas or drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, yeah, I was also thinking of the same thing when he first asked the question. Because my friend with type 1 diabetes, he pretty much ate anything, but soda was the one thing that he always had to drink, like diet soda, because there was just so much sugar in it. But I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I just think it's funny. Like, it's so easy to eat unhealthy nowadays. I mean, there's dollar menus at McDonald's, and but I guess just the main thing that I think of is just, yeah, like you said, sugars and carbohydrates, and basically anything that tastes good.
that's that's the saying, is anything good in this life is either illegal, immoral, or unhealthy, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. I will admit I do enjoy Mountain Dew every once in a while. More, maybe sometimes more than once in a while. My wife. Yeah, right. So yeah, that's true. That's definitely so. Yeah, empty calories I think is a huge
Yeah.
point. Like, there's zero really benefit to drinking soda. I totally realize that, even though people make fun of me that I'm drinking like engine coolant. And sometimes I just need it after a hard day,
Yeah.
But I totally get it. Yeah, that soda is definitely a big one. It's just sugary, high sugar stuff. It's just empty calories, because yeah, it's okay to have yummy things as long as there's some sort of nutrients, I guess. What are some foods that diabetics should, in fact, eat more of, or foods that you've found?
Well, I feel like this could go along with just about anyone, but like, fruits. I feel like fruits are really important, just because they don't have any sugars in them,
Yeah.
unless you buy them from the store. They've added sugar.
Yeah.
But I actually saw a really interesting picture the other day, and I'm not a huge fan of fruit myself, but I'm trying to eat more of it. But I saw this really interesting picture, and it was like a picture of the stomach, and how when you eat fruit, it was like the same amount of weight of fruit, and how it filled up the stomach more. But then there was like candies or other unhealthy things, and it made the stomach less full. So fruit actually make your stomach, like, it makes you feel fuller than those unhealthy fatty foods. So I thought that was a really cool picture, and kind of put it
That's
into
interesting.
a better perspective for myself. But
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. Fruits.
Yeah, and then they always say like whole grains, so not like refined grains or whatever, white bread or whatever, avoid those things. But and how they say like oatmeal and whole grains can like lower your cholesterol and all that. So those are probably something you would want to more of over other things.
Yeah, that's just something that I notice a lot too, is the substituting whole for white.
Right.
Because I actually don't know what it's called. There's actually given me like a name for it. I have a digestive condition. It's not like anything serious. It's just maybe IBS, I guess. I don't know. Where I've kind of been forced to go off of whites and kind of go onto whole grains, whole bread, like wheat bread and brown jasmine rice and wheat pasta sometimes. And I've definitely noticed a difference. I mean, it's not quite as sticky and starchy, and it feels like it travels through your body better. And it feels like you're getting more nutrients out of it, I guess. Because I used to be one of that kid at school that would have this super white bread with this bologna and gross cheese. Now it's like you got to have the grainy bread and the ham with it. So it's been an adjustment, but I have noticed like it totally makes a difference.
Yeah, I saw on the internet, because I just always feel tired, and I do work and I go to school and stuff, but I'm just like, I should not feel tired all the time. And so I saw on the internet someone was kind of having the same symptoms as me, and they mentioned going off of gluten. So I was kind of like, that's interesting. Maybe I should try that. And I haven't really tried it yet, just because I'm like, I feel like everything has gluten in it. But
Yeah.
that's something that I've been wanting to try because I've seen a lot of people feel more energized and just like they feel less bloated, or they don't get headaches as often. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm gonna try.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Actually, I was Googling just like fun recipes you can eat or you can cook, especially since we have a diabetic good friend of ours. Sometimes we should probably cook for him a little bit better than cheesecakes and stuff. I was just looking at fun recipes, and they actually have some really creative ways to make really good stuff.
Yeah.
That's diabetes friendly. I just a few here that I wrote down. Like sweet potato corn chowder sounds delicious.
Oh, there you go.
And and applesauce pancakes. That sounds really good. Maybe my wife will make that for me someday. That sounds really good. And I saw like a recipe for like breaded salmon cakes and black bean burgers, like just stuff that just you can just tweak it here and there, and it makes it more diabetic friendly. Like I guess before I have a few here written down, but what are some things that maybe you've heard of or of that, like why you're cooking something, you're subtracting something to make it more diabetes friendly or just healthier?
Well, like then instead of using like a lot of salt or whatever, you can use spices or herbs or whatever instead of using, because you should avoid salt or some things like that. So using more herbs and less oils, cooking, non-stick pans, and just finding ways to substitute oils for, like, avocado is even a better substitute than regular oil, or getting your fats in different ways.
Yeah.
I can't think of any specifics right now, like a specific recipe, but I feel like I've seen something where yogurt can be substituted for something.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't remember what it's usually substituted for.
Yeah.
But yogurt's, I don't like the taste of yogurt by itself, but I feel like it could be a good substitute. And then you get those probiotics as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big issue. Sorry, my dog is being very distracting. Anyway, so a few things that I noticed about just because when I would go over the recipes, I just was curious and diabetic friendly, and a lot of stuff was like cooking with liquid. It's okay to cook with fats apparently. So cooking with liquid fats instead of solid fats, like instead of using a big thick, use like a little oil or something.
That's interesting.
Yes, that's what I found. Another was cooking with low-fat dairy, like half and half or heavy cream and milk or something like that, which I love. I love whole milk. We're a whole milk family. And then I saw was easy on the sugar. We've talked about how pretty big part of this.
Yeah.
And it says most recipes, it's okay to cut back a little on the sugar. Like you don't always have to get the exact, unless you're making like some fancy dessert, like on the Food Network or something. But if it's something that just needs sugar with it, you can cut out the sugar. You don't have to use as much as they say, that kind of thing. Oh.
Makes sense.
Here's what in the past or currently is that you found helps you yourself eat, or for us to prevent getting diabetes? Like what has worked in the past, maybe what it hasn't, get you eating healthy?
I think one thing that works for us is just cooking for ourselves, like instead of eating out, because sometimes we'll get into the habit of, oh, we're too busy to cook, we're just going to run through the drive-through, or we'll just pick up something. So instead of doing that, you save yourself a lot of calories just by making something at home. because you're probably going to cook smaller amounts of food than you would get. Like if you go, get yourself a meal deal somewhere, you're going to get probably
Yeah.
smaller portions at home, and you're going to less processed usually. And so it's probably a better idea just to substitute home cooked meals for, drive-through or takeout or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say the same.
Usual.
Just like being super busy all the time, it's really easy
Yeah.
to just run through the drive-through. And but after I got married, I put on a little bit of weight, and I was like, oh, I need to start watching how I eat better. And I had never really paid attention to calories or anything like that before. And then once I started paying attention to that, I'm like, oh my goodness, this has 500 calories in it. Like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I think what like Miranda said, just cooking for yourself. And I don't know, being as busy as I am, I feel like just taking the time to prioritize my time a little bit better and just like organize my schedule, it gives me a lot more time to make time to cook meals at home and save that money and eat healthier. So
I think I've also noticed, like with, everyone has a smartphone or something. They have so many cool apps that you can use to like track your eating and your diet. I found this one where, it's like you do it's like a food diary. So you put in every meal, what you've eaten or whatever. But sometimes they're so hard because you're like, I don't know, it was a burrito. Was it
yeah,
a size burrito? But like there was this one app and you could actually scan the packaging of whatever it was. So like, if you had a yogurt, you could scan the barcode on the cup of yogurt and it would automatically say, oh, this was this yogurt and this has this many calories. So it makes it so easy for you to, to track your food without a big hassle or something. I think there's...
Is it the Lose It app?
Huh? What was
Is it
that?
the Lose It app?
I don't think so. It was like My Fitness or something. I think it was
Oh, okay.
like Under Armour or something. But yeah. And I mean, there's, technology could totally be useful when we're trying to monitor our health or whatever.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. Yeah, it's for me, it's been well for having home cooked meals in general, which is always great. And yeah, when I actually the Lose It app, when I actually do use it, because counting calories can sometimes be just like forget it.
Yeah. Give up.
But yeah, when I do it, I've noticed it. Even if it's like I had 2 burritos from Taco Bell today, it's like, oh, okay, well, that means I can't eat anything else today. And then another thing that I've noticed is just planning ahead.
Right.
Like, okay, this week, because for me, during the week, I have structured, lunch breaks. I'll plan for, I'll have a hard-boiled egg and like half a sandwich or something like that. And then for dinner, I'll have like some beans and rice or something. But the weekends for me is when it just all goes to heck. I mean, it's just, I got, soda, and let's go out to eat. We got the night off. And it's just when all heck breaks loose.
Yeah.
So planning ahead, I think, is huge. Just, you don't have to like keep a 3-meal 7-day schedule, but I mean, like, just what my wife and I have done is shopped for, okay, what are the meals we're cooking this week, and what do we need, and we're not going to buy like, Funyuns. No, let's not buy that. So just that's kind of what's helped me. To kind of close here, I guess, that my time's up here. Let's see. So, but I think for me, diet has been, when I lose weights, because I actually was way heavier like a year ago. I've lost about 25, 30 pounds, and I haven't exercised like that much more or less. It really has been diet. I mean,
Great.
I've noticed a huge difference when, like, I'm a football coach, and so I'm running around with these. I get plenty of exercise, and it is the diet. For some reason, I mean, I guess that's why they tell us it's not just exercise. Diet is
they definitely go in hand.
really important.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's me.
Great. Okay, I guess it's my turn then. So I thought I would start with an icebreaker since we had like 10 videos on it. I thought, oh, maybe I'll do an icebreaker.
Oh, cool.
First, let's ask Nick a question. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Ooh. My answer usually isn't the one that people answer all the time. It's actually Cuba.
Oh, really?
I served my mission in Florida, and
Uh-huh.
I met a ton of Cubans and learned Spanish, and I just grew to just adore. And and they always talk about, well, obviously how crappy the country is as far as government, but just how beautiful the beaches are. And that's actually, I learned something really cool is if since the government's so bad and
Yeah.
corrupt, they haven't advanced in technology at all. So stepping into that country is like stepping into the 70s.
Oh my goodness.
Like TVs, cars, theaters, like everything is 70s.
Wow.
So it'd be like a time warp. So,
Yeah.
and I've always just wanted to see the beaches and go dancing and seeing just the food. I mean, Cuba for me.
Oh, very cool. Okay, Ashlyn, I have a different question for you.
Okay.
If you had to give up one of your senses, hearing, seeing, touch, smell, taste, which one would it be?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a hard question. Probably touch.
Why?
I feel like I want to see, and I definitely want to taste, and definitely want to hear. So, I think touch. I don't know. I feel like that
Sure.
would. I mean, you obviously need all of your senses, but
Yeah.
that one wouldn't make as big of a difference as the other.
Unless someone was holding a candle under your hand or something and you couldn't feel it.
That's true. See, that's
Did you want to read?
Yeah, I guess would that involve no pain too?
yeah, I think I'll still go touch.
All right, that's okay. So, I was looking up some things, trying to, because I really don't know a ton about diabetes either. I mean, and she didn't really give us any like direction on that. So I was kind of just looking up maybe some myths about diabetes. You know, like when you like how Ashton was saying, like when you think of diabetes, what do you think of? And people think of like, you know, sugar and obesity and all this stuff. But there were some other things that I found, maybe some myths about diabetes. So what did I write here? I wrote down something and I can't read my own writing. One second. Okay. So as far as diabetes as an illness, how serious of an illness do you think it is? Like, you know, like is it as serious as cancer, or is it like having an ear infection? You know, like where is it on the scale? Like if you had to say,
For me, if I had to go from like 1 to 10,
mhm,
I would say it's probably a 7 or 8. I mean, for me, it's serious. Not only the fact that it can be detrimental and what's the word I'm looking for? Progressive
mhm,
is it's silence a lot of the times. Like sometimes people don't get diagnosed until it's a little late, and some people don't like maybe you're like your mom maybe, or like my friend who maybe don't take it super seriously.
right,
Your mom's got some time, but my friend's had it his whole life and he's still eating like
yeah,
like people don't sometimes take it seriously until they realize, oh, I'm about to go blind, you know? So I
right,
think just the fact that people don't take it serious enough when it actually is making it that much more serious.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Nick. So both of my grandparents have it, like I said before, and they actually built this attachment onto my parents' house. So they kind of have like their little own apartment over there. But there's actually been a couple of times where my grandma, she just like hasn't eaten throughout the day, and she would have really low blood sugar, and she'd be completely out of it. And it's just like, it would give us a scare a couple of times, and then, but I feel like those were the times where she actually, it clicked in her head, oh, hey, this is actually something that I need to keep up with more, and, not just say, oh, I'll get to it later, but, yeah, I feel like it's definitely something that you don't recognize a lot of the time until it actually has that severe effect on you. But yeah, I would say it is pretty serious. Probably like a 6 or 7, like Nick said. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know, but I actually read that like more people die from diabetes related issues than like cancer and AIDS put together or something. So
I
it's,
didn't know that.
Wow.
well, because it can cause other complications too. So
Right.
That's true.
it is, I guess it is pretty serious.
Yeah.
We did talk about, like weight and how that can contribute. Do you think that if you are overweight that you are guaranteed to get diabetes, or what do you guys think about how that happens, or who gets it, or how that works?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't think everyone that's overweight will get it. I don't remember what class it was. I don't know if it was exercise physiology. I think it was exercise physiology. We were talking about BMI.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a 39 BMI. Like this guy was 5'11", something like that. Just he was perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
Like his blood pressure was fine, his blood sugar was fine. His doctors were like, "You're good."
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of factors I think have to go into you getting diabetes. Is your diet, your genetics. Genetics I think are a huge thing.
Probably. Yeah.
So I guess I wouldn't go as far as saying every overweight person. It definitely doesn't help.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely say that has a play in it.
Yeah.
Like Nick said, genetics does have a role in it. Just basically, what is it? Is it pancreas that produces insulin, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I guess we just have a bad pancreas and get unlucky there, then.
So do you think if you don't have like a family history of it, that you're like, oh, maybe I can go a little more crazy because I don't have a family history, it's not going to happen to me.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Well, I'm sure you could certainly eat and drink your way to, if not diabetes, certain health problems. But yeah, I think because it's not 100% genetics, so I think that yeah, it's if your diet was bad enough,
Right.
you could probably pummel your pancreas enough to to get diabetes. I'm sure.
Yeah. And we talked about like sugar and how, like, what do you guys think? How do you think sugar is, like, what kind of role does sugar have in diabetes, or what do you think, if, whether or not it's good or bad, how do you think that plays a part in people's health?
Well, your body does need sugar, and I think I think diabetes interferes with how your body breaks down sugar. And breaking down sugar is a huge way that you get energy and how you fight infections. And so I think overloading your system with sugar, like with soda and candy and stuff, as you're diabetic, that's definitely not helping, especially
Right.
as your body's having trouble breaking down your sugar.
yeah, exactly. I think I read online that, here, let me see if I can find it. I think it's still, no, I don't. Basically, it's like your body, it is having a problem breaking it down, but then it's like it produces so much, and then it's like an overload.
Mhm.
But I think I mentioned it before, how it's just like it builds up in your blood rather than going where it needs to go. So that's kind of like talking about, it's not being broken down correctly. But yeah.
And like sugar too makes me think of kids. Like how do you think we start, because it's probably better off just starting young and teaching our kids to not,
Yeah.
not overindulge in things like that. So how do you think we could do that? I mean, if you look on, I think it's kind of strange, like you see things that are meant for children, like fruit snacks and all these, things that are kind of geared toward, oh, they're healthy because they're fruit snacks. But if you look at them, they're just like sugar, they're just candy. So what do you think we can do to like teach our children to have a better eating habit and like avoid, or maybe not even avoid, but just understand that those things are okay, but we shouldn't always have too much of them.
Yeah, I think just educating them, teaching them how those foods affect our bodies and how they're good for our bodies or how they're bad for our bodies. I always blame my mom for me not liking fruits because she didn't feed them to us very often growing up, and I feel like I'd be in a better habit of craving fruit or something more healthy than, fruit snacks. And I grew up in a house where there was a walk-in pantry and we could just grab whatever we wanted, and there weren't always the best options there. So, kids, they depend on you. Whatever you have in the house, if they get hungry, they'll eat it,
That's
So, instilling that knowledge in them and, teaching them, I think teaching is the most important, and, just starting them when they're young, I feel like is.
Yeah. Ashton, that's for me with veggies is the same exact thing. Like I'll eat fruit till I'm blue in the face. I'll eat my weight in fruit. Veggies, I will not go near. Because the same exact thing. I wasn't raised to eat veggies. My mom, because I'm the oldest of 5 kids, so by the time my mom got serious about feeding us veggies, like to my younger siblings, I was like, nope, I don't like it. And so it was too late for me. I was too far gone. So yeah, I think starting at an early age, yes, fruits and vegetables are the way to go. And yeah, these snacks are okay every once in a while. It's not something, they shouldn't replace healthy meals. They should be every once in a while kind of things. Because yeah, if had my mom, perhaps, I'm not blaming my problem on my mom obviously, but it's I still hate veggies though. It's had my parents maybe started me earlier, yeah, like you, Ashton, I probably would say, hey, yeah, I could use some vitamin A right now. Let me get some carrots, or let me get some salad or something. It's just not there because I didn't grow up with it.
That's funny.
Like we were saying that, diabetes is probably a lot hereditary genetics. So do you think it can also then be caused maybe by just habits that we've learned from our families, from our parents, or, just our whatever culture? I think that also plays a role.
For sure.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. My dad commutes to work from San Diego to Los Angeles every day, so it's quite a trek. And so he's a soda drinker. He's been a soda drinker as long as I can remember. It's always Diet Coke, and so that's kind of how I grew up. And so now I like soda because I grew up. I love my dad, and I grew up watching him road trips and pounding the Diet Cokes. And so I'm like, oh, my dad's a cool guy and it's working out for him. So, that kind of thing. So that's subliminally, at least subconsciously, maybe why I'm okay with drinking soda. I don't know.
Yeah. It's actually funny because when I grew up, we had sodas in the house, but my parents gave us a limit, and they were like, okay, this is how much soda you can have. But my husband, I feel like, because he can drink soda all day if we have it, and I feel like his parents maybe didn't set a limit, or just let him have it whenever he wanted. So I feel like, sorry, what was your question again?
Just like, how do you think that those bad habits relate to maybe illnesses like diabetes, getting things like that? Do you think that, and like we were saying, now that you know those things, if we train our kids better or help them have better habits, can we reduce the risks they have later and in lots of different areas?
So yeah, I feel like it could definitely be reduced. I mean, there are some people who just get certain illnesses for whatever reason and they can't help it, but I feel like there are definitely things related to your health that you can prevent.
And I think one of you mentioned earlier that diabetes is one of those things that can be reversed or at least really well maintained where it's almost not an issue.
Yeah.
So that's true. All right. Well, I guess I don't really have anything else. 8:30.
We're done. I think we're.
Yeah. So I think we have to do what was like our wrap up.
Yeah.
What does our wrap up include?
Okay, so, well, first off, I think it was awesome that each of us came prepared, like had questions in mind, because I felt like this was going to go a lot more awkward than it was, but it actually went really well. So,
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
thanks for coming prepared.
So I think maybe as a facilitator, it's really good to be organized and prepared.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
I was thinking too, like when, like if you've ever had to teach like a primary class or something, on the days when I was prepared and I had like a good lesson and I had like an activity planned, things went really well. But on a day when I thought, oh, like I threw together something or didn't do as much preparation, those kids were crazy. And you felt like you had no control and things just went wild.
Yeah.
So I think you can tell the difference when you've prepared a little and when you haven't.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nick,
So
do you have any comments?
I think we're just supposed to say, what do you find challenging and what did you learn about facilitating a support group? So what did we find challenging? Anybody?
Just coming up with discussion, inviting questions and topics, I guess, just making sure that what I was offering would spark a good discussion and not. And also
Right.
something I didn't anticipate till just now was making sure we had different content, so none of us were like talking about the same thing for 15 minutes.
Right.
Actually, I thought that went really well.
I think we did that pretty good.
Yeah, because we could have easily had all three the same thing. So I think that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a little harder because we didn't get to choose our own subject.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, if you're running a support group, I'm sure you would be doing you would be doing it for something you had some kind of knowledge about.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the reading, it was saying about how, the different kinds of groups, like self-help groups or like AA or whatever, like, I don't know if I would be able to run an AA meeting if I've never had an issue with it or know anything about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would respect my opinion. So sometimes I think it would be easier if we were doing a group on something we were knowledgeable about and had some kind of interest in.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Definitely had to do some research before I.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other
Those are the only
question?
two questions, right?
Huh?
Those are the only two questions that we had to.
What did you find challenging and what did you learn? So what did you learn?
What I learned is, yeah, like what you're saying, we definitely get to know your stuff to be a facilitator, and so also it's not just facilitate. You're not speaking for 15 minutes, right? You're facilitating a discussion, I guess. So that's
true.
kind of, I was worried like, crap, I'm gonna have to talk for 15 minutes and
Yeah.
bore these guys to tears. But no, I learned that it's more being good at sparking a discussion.
That's true. Yep. That's a good point. I think that's what I learned too, is just you're gonna want to make sure that if there's dead air that you come up with something to get the conversation going again. And I don't know if, did you guys remember those parts about the different kinds of people that might be in your group? Like I forget, what was the person called who was kind of like the bossy person who like would take over the conversation or something?
Yeah.
Monopolist.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Who was like negative and just like trying to cause an argument or whatever. Like, I mean, we're in a group here where we're all like on the same page, so it wouldn't probably happen with us. But you know, if that was in a real group and you had that kind of situation, that might be something that would be hard to deal. I don't know if I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough to deal with.
Yeah, I don't know if I could tell someone to be quiet and get out. It's like, stop, you're ruining my group.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really find that many challenges in tonight's meeting, but I feel like ones that you could definitely come across are like, you know, if someone's not feeling comfortable, like trying to make them feel comfortable with the discussion. Obviously, you can't make someone share their opinion, but
Right.
knowing like or giving them the option, or just like addressing them specifically, you know.
Right.
But then I've had multiple meetings before where we have to meet on Google Hangout, and it's just been
Right.
super annoying because everyone's trying to talk over each other, and but I felt like we did a really good job tonight. You know, just like
Right.
the facilitator asked their questions, and I felt like we kind of had a normal routine. Like Marinda would answer first, and then Nick, or Nick would answer first, and then I would answer.
Right.
I just felt like it was really organized, and I think it went really well.
Yeah.
I agree.
I feel like it was what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, does anyone have anything else?
Nope. I think it was good.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
everybody.
for coming prepared and
Yep.
for your insights.
So I guess you just post it and then we're done.
Yeah, and then I'll just
Yeah, did we
include
decide who's going to post it?
when
Oh,
everyone
yeah, so it'll be just a
started, I guess. But I'll look over the instructions again and make sure it's all there.
Okay, thanks everybody. I'm glad we got it together.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
See
nice
you
to meet
guys.
y'all.
All right, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.